Hi all. So I'm trying to build an asset manager, which is an idea I got before and I've written a tutorial on it. So I'll just create now a plugin for it, right? So yeah, I have already the code, and since I am a bit on time now, because I have a meeting soon, I'll have to make it fast, okay? So let's build. I just made a folder asset manager with asset manager PHP, right? So if I go on my site and I check that's the one. Okay, so what do we want here? We want to have something, and this is not actually a plugin. It should be you should think of it more as a library which you can use, right? So let's first check. So if this is accessed directly, because then this constant wouldn't be defined, just return like that. Oh, the coding standard I didn't define, so let's just disable it now, so we don't have that notification at the bottom. Okay, so let's save it. Great. And now let's start building. So we'll let's first create define, and then we'll say SM like asset manager, and this should be, let's say, your plugin, right? So plugin and this file, and this actually something to tackle your assets too, right? Okay, and then let's start building. So let's say create an asset manager class, and be sure that this is something in which must be unique, so you can say like that or whatever. I'll just do it like this without the namespace. And let's see what should we actually manage, right? So we will manage let's set private scripts, which is an array. We'll also manage styles, which is also an array, right? And we'll have loaded styles, so maybe if we load them somewhere else, we won't need to load them more than once. Okay, so let's start building. And this old could be actually static, because we should have them we should know throughout the site which scripts were loaded, which were not, and so on. Okay, so we could have a constructor method, which is a public one, and this will be when we started like that. And you could have, let's say, self register default scripts, maybe, I don't know. And then we actually have a public static method, register default scripts, and you could register sorry about that, register some default scripts right there. And to register or add them, let's create a function, public function add script, and it's a static one. So what should we have here? Let's have a slug, the same thing we do when we enqueue actually. So we have a slug, we have paths to it, then what do we have also? Oh, we have dependencies, right, array, and should be into footer, and I will put it true as default. So adding scripts. Okay, and let's also have a private static version. So let's say we have this version. Okay, and so we are adding it. First, we will check if is set in self scripts. If it's set with that slug, we just return it. If not, we will add it. The array, so we will add it like this, scripts, slug, and then an array. And this array will have the URL, the path to it, dependency, I need to be sure I'm writing it correctly. Well, not that. Let's copy that right there. And we'll also have footer because this is a script like that. Okay. So let's say I have a folder with assets, and I have a folder with, let's say, scripts, JavaScript, and let's also create a folder with CSS. Okay, and I'll have a script, a simple one, main.js, and within that we'll just say loaded, and that's it. Okay, so let's now register our main.js. So I want to do is self add script, and I'll say just main. The URL will be, let's say, trailing / it, our own constant width of path, which is path to this folder, and then we'll add assets js main.js. And why I trailing / it, because at the end of this URL I want to have a slash. Okay, then what else? The dependency, I don't need any dependency, anything. And actually I'll just do it like that because I don't need any dependencies and I want it to be loaded in the footer. Okay, so I've added this script. Let's see if we have an error. So I activated it, that's correct, and let's see, will it load? So it should load without it being low. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have some players here, so that's actually causing. But let's load it. Let's load a single page, so it should load faster. Okay, so we have this. Nothing is loaded, of course, and since our construct method is a public one which started here, I'll also add hooks here. So let's say add action w p and q scripts, and of course this is something that you don't need to actually have it here. You can have it elsewhere, but just to be as quick as possible and simple as possible, I'll do it here. So we'll add a class. I think it's like that. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's just like that, I don't know. We'll see what I'll get. And then we'll also enqueue all. Okay, so let's say we have now a public static function enqueue all, which will enqueue all registered scripts and styles. First, now we have this, the scripts. So let's say if self scripts, so we maybe don't have any, or maybe we do have some. So if scripts for each self scripts as script. Okay. Okay, it's okay. We'll do a self enqueue script, or we can say as slug and just slug, so we can use this function elsewhere. Okay, so we can enqueue, but we will enqueue script like that. Okay, so let's now create that function, static function enqueue script, and we only have a slug. So if not is set, so now we are checking if it's not set. Maybe we don't have this slug in the scripts, so we will just return. But if we do, let's get the script like that. Okay, let's get it, and now we will use vp enqueue script. We'll do the slug. Then what else? We need the URL, right? So we'll say script URL. Then we will say script dependencies. Then it's the version, and the version is self version because we have that in our class. And then we will say script footer. Okay, great. So now we actually should have this main loaded inside, or maybe I'm wrong, I'm not sure. So let's refresh. Whoa, so what undefined constant class, what did I do here? It's maybe like that, or maybe I've actually gotten it all wrong. Let me just refresh it and let's see what we'll say. Okay, everything is fine and it's loaded. Okay, so now we actually successfully loaded the script. Great. So what if we want to load the script, but we are not sure if we can actually do it? We don't do it here, we just use a shortcode or something else. How can we actually load the script? So let's do it. Let's create another function, load script and slug. Okay, so we'll also check if this even exists. If not, just return. Yeah, and we for load we'll say load, and let's say it's true, so it will echo it out immediately, and this will just return, let's say return nothing. Okay, and then let's get the script. So this is here and we want enqueue it. So yeah, what can we also do? If is script, I think it's like that. I'm actually not sure. Let me just check the already written. I think it's something like that. Is WP style is, so it's the W script is. Okay, I was close enough, right? So WP script is, and then we provide a slug. And what it does do here, it checks if this is already enqueued, and if it is, just return. We actually don't need it because it's already done. But if it's not, then we'll get the script and we can actually build the tag or HTML, and we can say script source, right? And then we can put script URL, close it. We can do it like that. Yeah, and of course we will place defer. So even if this will load only once all the page has been loaded, so we can actually say load it, it's fine, load it now, but it will be deferred until the end. So we are sure that everything is loaded before. And we can say if load, so it's loaded, echo it, just echo that this HTML, else return HTML. Okay, so now we can even load it, and let's try that. Let's say that I didn't want to have it here, right? Let's have let's add a filter, the content, right? And let's say asset manager load script. What am I doing here? Okay, so it's like that, scm load script content, and now we will also return content, of course, but we also want, so when we have added this this script, we have actually, oh, we didn't add it, so we will add it now. Let's say asset manager, like that, add script main, this, okay. And now we can say content asset manager load script main, but don't load it immediately, just return it, so it will be here in the content. Okay, I think we are fine. Let's refresh and let's see what's happening. Okay, everything is loading and we have it. So we had the alert, but let's see if we have the main.js deferred, as I said before. So let's go to the elements. Let's search for the main.js. Okay, so here it is. It's in the content, but actually it was deferred and it was loaded only after the whole page has been loaded. So that's a great way to load actually the scripts. And with scripts, it's much easier, right? But what with styles? What if we don't want to have all the CSS in one file? Maybe we just use a shortcut and it's a few lines of code. We can of course inline it, but what if we want a part of it to be loaded in a separate style file, right? So let's have it done like right here. I'll add a new CSS file, which will be main CSS, and we can just say body background, I'm not sure, pink, whatever, I don't care. Okay, and let's see if this will work if we add it. But of course we can't add it because we don't have the actual functions, right? So I'll just copy these three, and let's have a style methods just to have them separated a bit. Okay, So to enqueue style, right? To enqueue style, we will check for styles. Let me check the variable. Yeah, styles. Okay. And style. Let's also say style. The style will have the slug, of course, VP enqueue style. The slug, the dependencies, footer, no. They don't have footer, I think. Okay, and load style. This is a similar one. But what's problem with this? And we'll see later on. Let's now first do everything here. So we have add style like that. We don't need the footer part like that. So the checks are done with styles. So like that, like that. We don't need the footer like that. Great. So add style, and let's now go here where we actually have this, and let's say add style main, and everything here. We just change the path to CSS and main CSS. Okay. Okay, we have everything here. Let's also on enqueue all. We need to, we'll copy this part and we'll go with styles, style, and enqueue style. Right? Okay, let's see if we have if we load the CSS on our page. Whoa, I have an error. And what is this error? Maybe you, okay, loaded, great. But what is the error? So the error says, oh my god, since streaming seems like while streaming my Mac is not really operating fine. Okay, undefined variable script. On where? On line 106. Okay, let's go on line 106. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, so we are getting there because it has called the enqueue style. So our file should be enqueued. Okay. Loaded it is, and let's check if our main CSS has been loaded. Okay, our CSS has been loaded, but it doesn't change anything. And since I'm using this, I'll just have, let's see, which part should I just, it's content area probably, or something like that. Let's say if I add to site main background white, yeah, okay. So I'll say site main, just a second, in our CSS. Let's now refresh it and see if anything has changed. And I will also uncomment this because I don't want to get that alert every time. Okay, so now we have this pink background, and that's great. So how can we now So we are now sure that this works, but how to load the style, right? So yeah, okay, let's now go in queue load style. So if styles is not set, we don't need it. If WP style is already in queued, we don't need it. Okay, and that's great. So now I'll just get the style and styles, great. Load is here, that's awesome. And I actually don't remember the whole JavaScript part of loading it, because we need to create a link. I'll just copy it out like that. And that part is also deferred like that. So what's happening here? First, we are making the variables here, which will be our link. We're getting the head element, of course, and then we are creating a link, and the slug, if it has any and these dashes, we are converting to underlines. Am I saying that correctly? I hope I do. Okay, so we have the slug, we create the link, then we get the rel element to style sheet, the type to text CSS, href to our URL, media all, you can change whatever you want, and then we are appending that here. That's okay. And if we are loading, we will echo it. If we are returning, we will return the HTML. Let's save it. And let's also remove it here. I'll copy it. Then we will remove it here. We will add it here. Like that. We can also uncomment this part, and then we will say load style main. Okay, let's refresh now. So let's see what will happen. Okay, you can see a delay because this script was actually deferred at the end, and then we are loading it. Of course, you don't need to do that, but I've done that. So everything is loaded, and then we have it here, and that's fine when we have. So let's check. The main CSS is here, okay, and that's it, right? That's it. But what if, since you've seen it here, I'm doing it in the content filter, so every page will load that. So what if I go to the home page part? So let's see. If I go to the home page part, each content will trigger that CSS. So what will happen? Let's try and find it. Okay, you see the 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, a lot of links to the same CSS. Of course, the browser will cache that, so it will offer only one. It might load faster due to the browser, but do we really need to waste the DOM memory on the same link over and over, right? We don't. And what if this, and I'll not put it like that, I'll just say what if in array, and we'll say slug, in which array the self loaded styles, and let's see if that, yeah, loaded styles. Okay, so if this is already an array, it must have been loaded before, So we will just return it like that. And then if it's not, let's add it there. So we'll just do self loaded styles and add the slug. Okay, so let's now see if that will happen again. It's loading, be patient. So okay, we have, yeah, and you can see the background has turned into pink. So now it has been loaded through JavaScript. And let's now search for the main CSS. Only one. So this is the only one, right? If I go next, yeah. So now we actually, through our just a simple array, we are checking if the style has already been loaded through JavaScript. If it was, we will not load it once more, but if it's not, we will load it through JavaScript. And since it's deferred, this JavaScript won't be loaded until everything is set. You can always play with that. And of course, there are other stuff in the asset management like inline styles, inline scripts, localization and stuff like that. But I'll leave that to you to play around, enhance this and use it wherever you want to use it, right? So bye.